The hitman of CIA did bidding on behalf of his boss. But one day, he realized somebody had been using him for illegal missions for a long time.
I'm dead.
Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. Your review about this movie classified, and my editing will mean a lot to me. The story kicks off with a guy named Evan Shaw. He's been doing dirty work for the CIA for over 2 decades, but not in any typical fashion. Whenever he hits a new city, his first stop isn't some shady office or handler. Nope, he grabs the local paper, flips to the classified section, and decodes a weird ad that gives him his next hit. Once he knows who to go after, he visits the city's lost and found, flashes a fake ID, and walks out with a suitcase loaded with everything he needs. Guns, forged papers, photos of the target, the whole 9 yards. Evan's a ghost. No family, no friends, just missions. Sometimes in the dead of night, he dreams of a woman from his past, someone who meant something before all this mess. But she's long gone. Now it's just him, a suitcase full of death, in whatever city he wakes up in. One night, he lands another job. He heads down to a dock, knocks out 2 guards like it's nothing, then sets up a sniper rifle on a bridge overhead. With military precision, he wipes out the target's crew one by one, then puts a bullet in the main guy. When it's over, he torches everything. No paper trail, and flies out to Rome for the next mission. Same routine in Rome. Local paper, new suitcase, fresh fake passport. He checks into a hotel, locks up his gear in the safe, and heads out to grab a bite. But when he returns, boom, something's off. The safe's cracked open, and everything's gone. Before he can even react, this young woman shows up out of nowhere. Says her name is Casey Walker, and that she knows everything. His real name, his system, and even the tourism agency he supposedly works for. She spills the craziest thing. The agency's been shut down for years, and his so-called boss, Kevin Engler, dead for over a decade. Evan ain't buying it. He flips a chair, gets her in a hold, and demands the truth. She admits she's from MI6, digging into what used to be the U.S. Tourism Bureau, which, turns out, was a cover for Evan's ops. Now it's just a ghost of a department, and he's been running jobs for a dead man. Shaken but still cautious, Evan borrows a hotel computer to verify it all. And yep, Kevin Engler's obituary checks out. 10 years in the ground. Cue mental breakdown. Flashback time. Evan once fell in love with a woman named Monica. Wanted out of the game. Kevin gave his blessing. But now, Evan's stuck wondering, who the hell's been pulling the strings since Kevin died? Back in the hotel, he lets Casey go. Thought maybe MI6 would swoop in, but turns out she's on her own. That's why she came to him in the first place. She plans to hit Malta the next morning to dig deeper and offers him 2 options. Keep doing the assassin thing or team up and find out what's really going on. Still not fully trusting her, Evan locks Casey in the bathroom overnight and burns the latest target's info, trying to buy himself time to think. Next day, they head to Malta together, but Evan lays down rules. No heavy bags, travel light. Meanwhile, someone else is watching him. A mysterious woman sees that Evan's signal has moved and tips off her boss. They immediately plant a new ad in a Malta newspaper, bait for Evan. He's got no idea he's being hunted. After they arrive in Malta, Casey excuses herself to the restroom. While Evan waits, a nearby payphone starts ringing. Suspicious, he picks up. The voice on the other end demands to know why he left Rome and threatens to kill him if he doesn't finish the job. No names, no explanations. At the same time, local mercenaries are alerted to Evan's presence. They're coming. Evan and Casey make their way to Kevin's old office building. He's been here before. They head to the top floors and find Kevin's old office. Evan flips a chair and finds a hidden cassette taped underneath. Right then, the elevator dings. An intruder appears. Evan knocks him out cold and tosses him downstairs. But it's too late. The mercs are moving in. Evan grabs Casey and bolts upward. They race through different floors to stay hidden, eventually making it to the roof. From there, they sneak into another building, but run straight into more bad guys. Evan takes down 2 of them fast. The duo escapes into an alley, but bullets are flying. A street shootout erupts, and people are freaking out. Evan and Casey duck into a cathedral and lose their tail for a moment. They slip out the back, hot wire car, and drive to a safe house MI6 has in Malta. Inside, Evan sweeps the place and plays the cassette on a stereo they swiped. It's a conversation between Kevin and someone named Sean. Meanwhile, Casey does some digging on her laptop. Kevin had no family. His funeral was a cheap, state-paid deal. Their only clue now is Sean, They need to find this guy to get real answers. The next morning, Evan starts prepping. He rigs up a homemade explosive using whatever was in the safe house, then heads to a breakfast joint and swipes a newspaper, decoding yet another hidden ad. He makes a call. Same voice from earlier. Tells him he has to go back to Rome and finish what he started, or he's done for. But before Evan can even react, more mercenaries show up. He jacks a car, floors it, and pulls off some slick tricks to shake them. He even hides behind a truck and drives the opposite way to throw them off. What he doesn't know, there's a tracker inside his body. They're following him no matter where he runs. Just when they think they've got him again, Evan triggers a blast he rigged earlier and slips away in the chaos. The mercs realize too late they were chasing an empty car. And now, no signal. Evan's off the grid. For now. The leader of the mercenaries began to figure things out. He suspected Evan was probably holed up in an MI6 hideout. There wasn't much time before chaos erupted. Evan and Casey were still inside when the attackers let loose a storm of bullets on the place. After the first wave of shooting, the mercs sent 2 guys inside to clear the house. Neither of them made it out alive. Furious, the leader whipped out a machine gun, ready to turn the place into rubble. But Evan had a backup plan. He used a secret gadget to cause confusion, just enough for him and Casey to sneak out the back unnoticed. They hijacked a car and bolted. With his crew in pieces, the leader was now obsessed with catching Evan. On the road, things heated up between Evan and Casey. Evan had serious doubts about her story. The supposed safe house had no backup weapons, no security, nothing. Just a regular home. That didn't sit right with him. So, he cornered Casey and demanded the truth. That's when she finally cracked. She admitted she used to be with MI6, but there was more, something personal. She said she was Monica's daughter, Evan's daughter. At first, Evan thought it was a lie, but then she showed him a birthmark identical to his and described Monica down to the finest detail. She even knew his real name. That's when it hit him. She was telling the truth. Then she handed him a diary, Monica's journal. In it, Monica had written about Evan leaving without knowing she was pregnant and how fate had kept them apart. Back then, Evan had been drowning in missions. Eventually, Kevin had pulled him into the life of a contract killer. Still, Evan had never stopped thinking about Monica. He even flew to London years later, hoping to make things right. But life had other plans. Monica died in a car, crashed the very day he arrived, just hours too late. After clearing the air, things between Evan and Casey got less tense. They rested at another safe house where Casey stumbled on Evan's notebook. It had all his scribbles about how he decoded the newspaper ads. It looked like a mess, but Evan had kept track of every mission he'd ever done. Curious, Casey asked how the codes worked. Evan, now willing to share, taught her his system. She spent all night digging into the notebook and made a disturbing realization. Before the department was shut down, Evan had been going after terrorists and dangerous criminals. But after it closed, the hit started shifting to people like scientists, CEOs, and politicians. Not all were bad. Some were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They hit a local library to investigate further. There, they found something big. Sean, the man in charge of military affairs in Malta, had once been marked as one of Evan's targets. That didn't feel random. Casey started connecting the dots. Kevin, it turned out, wasn't even working for the CIA. He had some personal beef with Sean. That's probably why Sean became a target. But then Kevin was killed too, or so they thought. At this point, someone else had clearly taken over, but the real mystery was, why were business people and researchers on the list? Evan mentioned a clue he'd picked up while digging into Kevin's supposed death. Among the online obituaries, one included an odd poem and a photo. Knowing Kevin loved hiding messages in plain sight, Evan cracked the poem, which led to a name, Antonio Griffin. Casey looked him up and found out Griffin owned the biggest hedge fund in the world. And guess what? After Evan's department was closed, Griffin's company started making massive profits whenever one of Evan's targets disappeared. Coincidence? Not likely. Time to confront Griffin. Evan tracked down the woman who had been sending him cryptic messages. She took him to Griffin. And just like that, Griffin spilled everything. He proudly admitted that all the killings Evan carried out had helped his business crush competitors. He even offered Evan a cut of the empire. Evan wasn't impressed. He asked who was actually running the show. Griffin didn't say a word until Evan faked interest in partnering up. That's when Griffin gave them the location of the real puppet master. He even offered a speedboat to take them there. They arrived at the destination, only to be led into a room where the impossible happened. Kevin was alive and well. Evan, raging, punched him square in the face. But Kevin acted like nothing was wrong. He casually gave them a tour of the place while Evan and Casey were still trying to wrap their heads around it. Just then, mercenaries burst onto the scene. Casey suddenly had a sinking feeling. Monica's death happened way too conveniently, right when Evan had decided to quit. Could Kevin have arranged it just to keep Evan in the game? Boiling with rage, Evan snuck up behind Kevin and pulled his gun. But before he could do anything, more shooting broke out. Griffin's men had arrived. Griffin, ever smug, joked that they could figure out who kills who later. Kevin and his team retreated to the basement. Evan grabbed a weapon and fought back. Casey followed, refusing to sit out the action, and even managed to take one of the mercs down herself. Meanwhile, the mercenary boss found the basement entrance but hesitated. He told his crew to flank from upstairs and block the exit with a truck. Outnumbered and cornered, Evan's group was running out of luck. Kevin got seriously hurt in the crossfire. Evan knew it was time to go. He grabbed Casey and made a run for it. The mercs realized Evan had escaped and started searching the house. In the kitchen, Casey remembered there was a hidden staircase. Evan told her to go while he stayed behind to hold them off. He blasted anyone in his path, then slipped down the stairs to meet Casey again. But the attackers weren't done yet. Evan kept firing while Casey tossed a makeshift bomb to slow them down. Just when they thought they were safe, another group showed up. A brutal fight broke out. Evan got shot, but still managed to take out the shooter. Then, as another merc was about to finish him, Casey threw a grenade. That bought them enough time. Finally, the cops showed up. The mercs scattered. Evan and Casey collapsed, exhausted. Days later, Evan visited Monica's grave. He promised to take care of Casey and walk away from his bloody past. But before riding off into a peaceful life, he paid Griffin one final visit and made sure the chapter was closed forever. So yeah, if you're wondering why this movie feels like a fever dream, you're not alone. Hopefully, I saved you the trouble of watching it. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Catch you in the next one. Peace.